Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys real quick about me crashing the drone, which happened a lot faster than I had anticipated, especially considering it's got all the new sensors and things going on with it. So I've never been one to fly on the auto features or settings. I almost always fly on cinematic mode. I'm working on tweaking the joystick so that they're even more comfortable for me for how I like to fly and how I like to do my thing. But this has autofocus 3.0, which is supposed to be much better. I was in what I considered to be a low risk scenario. It was a fairly open path with very little overhead anything. One side was always clear and it was fairly open. The drone was set at a good height. I was flying at a extremely consistent 16 kilometers per hour, which is fairly slow. It's like 10 miles an hour. I had the controller in one hand. I was driving my car in the other while I was kind of doing puddles and different things. I had set the drone up to follow pretty much dead on behind my car. And for some reason it kept going left. It just kept veering left, which is where the majority of the shrubbery was. And at one point it went to go around the tree, where the road kind of like did a little corner, and it almost ate it. Like it flew like this far from the branches before it stopped and backed up. Now they were fairly small branches. There's not a lot of shrubbery on the trees. So I was like, you know, whatever, it didn't crash. It's still sitting there flying. So it stopped. So I grabbed I stopped my car, move it over, fly over and around, I get it back set up again. And we get driving again, and again it kind of veered off, smashed the front left prop. As you can tell, we're down to a very singular unit. It just wants to show you guys my beautiful face. Rather than the drone, we broke this prop here. We took the back side of it off. So that one will also get replaced. And then this one here, we lost a tip and scuffed up the other side pretty good. So we're down 3 props. There's no other damage to the drone that I can see. Everything else looks and functions and does fine. The gimbal is fine, which is good because the other gimbal on the other drone, or the Mavic Pro that I had a lot of issues. So I was hoping that this upgraded gimbal design would be far less finicky, and it does seem to be, which is great. But I'm a little apprehensive to take it out and do it again, because this was a kind of like a trial run in a low risk scenario. If I was to go mountain biking in the woods, even though the path is probably 8-10 feet wide and there's nothing hanging out overhead for 8, 10, 12 feet. I mean, it didn't make it on a 12 or 15 foot wide path with nothing hanging overhead for 12 or 15 feet. So it's not the most inspiring first test flight for the auto features. I will end up doing it again, but probably in even less or easier conditions. Like, I don't know, like I'd have to be in a wide open park and I wanted it to follow me around the park or something. Like, it's going to be real simple. So, and then the other thing I want to talk about with the autofocus was how to get into it, because coming out of the Mavic, use the DJI Go Fly app, or I think it was called, I can't even remember, but you pulled out a menu and it had all of your different flight modes, your point of interest, your fixed wing mode, like everything was laid out in screens, and you just panned across so you found what you wanted, which included tripod mode, which I was a big fan of. But not anymore. Now it's more of like a sequential thing. You have to take your finger and you have to draw on the screen for it to highlight and select what you're trying to follow, and then it does a really good job of recognizing. Actually, I followed a motorcycle. He took off too fast for it to actually like pan around and keep going, but it did recognize him and showed that it was a motorcycle. When I outlined my car, it popped up and showed that it was a motorcycle. And then before we're at a new point of interest, I'd have to fly my drone over, set a point, back up, set a distance, start the rotation, pick speed, pick rotation, like etc. And now it just like, you just click it and it just starts, and then you just tweak your flight controls until you get it where you want it while it's recording, while it's kind of already doing it. It's interesting because they've streamlined a lot of things, but it's not necessarily more user friendly, because before I don't know, like it was like step 1 is what I want to do, step 2 is how I want to do it, and step 3 is doing it. Whereas now it's like I always have to select the object and go through the sequential process of their flight systems. So I don't really know what to think of the crash. As I watched the footage back, the drone went right, the drone went left, and right into a tree branch that was, you know, the size of my thumb. I would have, like, I put my thumb up to the drone, it finds it, and it avoids it. But I don't know. I contacted DJI. They didn't have a whole lot to say about it. They just wanted me to send it in and pay them to fix it, which would involve swapping props. So I was not going to do that. And yeah, I think I got 3 flights in before I crashed it, which would not help my record all that much, considering I probably had 60 flights in on the Mavic Pro. But I was a lot more cautious, and I never took the risks of allowing it to do what it wanted to do. I was pretty much always in control of it until it wasn't, and I crashed it too. So I guess that doesn't say a whole ton. So that's a quick update on the drone. We're gonna get the props changed, and we're gonna keep flying and taking absolutely beautiful shots. The drone itself is amazing. The footage, amazing. We just gotta work out some of these bugs. Till next time, drive safe, take care, and behave, as always.